What up? It's your boy Vigilante Styles, man. Let's mix this song, man. This one's called, I don't know, I forgot the name of it, but it's by a band called Skyy, S-K-Y-Y. So it's some old school shit, but we're gonna mix it, I guess, somewhat in a new school way. I am using the SSL 9000J again. I've come to some conclusions about using it. I have the preamp for it now, which I didn't have before, which is this thing called Prebox, right? So put that in here, and then I switch it to number 2, and it's SS9. That's the SSL 9000. So I have the 9000 line amplifier. So that's a cool thing. I don't use it on everything, but I can use it when I need it. So I feel like I have a full console emulation now. So anyway, let's get mixing, right? Enough of me talking. Let's go. Well, if the mic will shut off.
she's gone, I figured I'd give you a call and see if you were serious. Hey, I tell you what, we gotta get together and talk about it. Just me and you. I got this little place I like to go to. It's kinda dark and quiet.
I've been watching you, boy, and I got what you want. Got what
Okay, it's done. Damn. Hey, they had that little section around 6 minutes in where it seemed like everything just stopped. Was that something they did or something that happened to me? I wonder. Well, it's 6 minutes in. I wonder if this is about 5:34. Like everything just stopped and then it came back. Like, so I thought that was the end. Yeah, right about here, right? Hold on, let me check.
She doesn't treat you like she used to do. No, here's my number and a dime. You can call me anytime. Here's my number and a dime. She doesn't treat you what she used to do. She doesn't treat you like she used to do. No, here's my number and you can call me anytime. Anytime, yeah. Call me.
Okay, that was in there. That I didn't have a issue with my sound driver. I was like, what the fuck? No, but it's all good. All right. So I guarantee you're not going to hear a high fidelity version of that song anywhere on the internet except here. Because I mixed it over again, of course, with the SSL 9000J plugin, which is an emulation of the SSL 9072J console. Sounds wonderful. So if you want to emulate an SSL 9000J, at least the full circuit, you have the line amplifier, the SSL 9000 line amplifier. This one comes from Prebox, which is from Analog Obsession. You can get it for free. Give them some money though, Analog Obsession, but yeah, they give the plugin away for free though. And then the BX Console SSL 9000J. If you're watching this around Christmas time and whatever, you can still get deals on this right now. Probably pick it up at Plugin Alliance for probably about $30 or so. Get it. This is an emulation. This is probably the closest sounding emulation to any of the consoles from what I'm hearing, from what people are telling me. That the 4000s are kind of hit or miss depending on the manufacturer. Brainworks does a decent job at modeling the 4000s, but the 9000J was modeled, they're saying like 99.9% of the sound of the real console. So close, in fact, that you could almost not even know the difference between a mix done in the box with this plugin or somebody mixing on the actual console. And I mean, there's a big reason behind that. I mean, Michael Brower was the one that tested the plugin. And he, of course, was able to test this plugin up against his SSL 9000J series in his studio in New York City. And he said he wanted it to be so close that he couldn't tell the difference with his eyes closed. So, and of course, he's not just talking. He's not just talking. He actually uses this plugin on his own sessions when he's not in his main studio. He will run the entire session with these channel strips on, whether he uses them or not. He says he's still using them just because of the fact that it has the sound of the console, even just when you're doing other things, So kind of like if you were to route your Pro Tools or whatever DAW into the console, that's kind of the reason why he would still use it, even though sometimes he might not be doing anything, because there is, just by passing the signal through, you are getting a sound. Right, which is a little bit of harmonics and the gated noise and and the channel tolerances. So you're getting those kind of things just by having it on the channel. So there's that. The Townhouse bus compressor is the center section. It's the bus compressor. This, of course, was a hardware bus compressor, separate from a console, but it sounds good. I know that the one on the SSL 9000 probably has a different same operation. basically. Just maybe different sounding based on the electronic components or whatever, but pretty similar. A lot of mixes I've heard done on 9000Js sound the same as the plugin that I'm using, and then running this bus compressor on it, so that's why I don't use another one. But if you want to use a different one, Analog Obsession makes Buster SE, which is really good. Emulation of an SSL bus compressor. Very transparent sounding, so probably would be more in line with what a 9000 bus compressor probably sounds like. You could use the one from SSL Native, although that one has no harmonics whatsoever in it. So it's going to not really sound... It's just going to be only doing the glue but not giving you harmonics. This is giving you harmonics. So... and there's people who would probably use an outboard bus compressor as opposed to the one in the console anyway. Or you could probably, use the Waves one, the SSLG 4000G bus compressor, since that's pretty much the same bus compressor in the 9000s. I think they try to mimic that G bus compressor because that was their best sounding bus compressor. So their most popular bus compressor, I guess. So anyway, this sounds pretty awesome. It doesn't sound like a quote unquote digital mix, but it sounds like an extremely clean one though still, which is good because I don't want it to sound like a digital mix. I want it to sound like an extremely clean, but at the exact same time, powerful kind of console sound, which you're getting out of this, definitely. Getting a huge sound out of this. And it was easy. The workflow was just super fucking easy, dude. I mean, how many tracks was this? 22 tracks? Just blew through it. So, anyway, if you like this video, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And one last thing, like I said, if you're emulating consoles, the main thing, components. The channel strip, the preamp. You don't have to use the console preamp. You can use a different one. A lot of times people use a 1073 preamp just because they're the best sounding pre's. And then if you're doing SSL, you're going to have a bus compressor. If you're not, on your master bus, if you're not doing an SSL thing, and you probably don't need it. You could use other things. You could put a Fairchild on there. That's a bus compressor. API 2500 is a bus compressor. I think there was like a Neve 2254. I think that's a bus compressor. So, I mean, you don't have to use an SSL bus compressor, or you don't even have to use a bus compressor on your master bus, because a lot of those other consoles don't even have one. SSL is just notorious for having compressors on everything, right? So they have a master bus compressor. So it's really good at tightening everything up and gluing everything together, and that's just kind of what you want. And I believe an SSL type mixing system, even in the box, is perfect. I mean, why reinvent the wheel? And it's up to you which kind of SSL you like. You can pick the 4000s, E, the G series, different knobs, the brown knob EQ, the pink knob EQ. You can mix and match if you want to. And then, of course, the 9000 is a different animal altogether. I think the reason why is because they removed the capacitors out of the signal path, which then took away a lot of the harmonic distortion. But there's still some. But they took a lot away. But there is still some. And also gave it lower noise and higher headroom. So that's why you can push on the SSL 9000J. You get probably stronger lows and stronger highs. That's why that thing sounds high fidelity. So we went for a high fidelity mix on something old. This is an old song, man, from like the early 80s, man. From when I was like a little baby back then. And, SSL 9000 didn't even exist at that time. SSL 9000 series came out around like 1995. So I'm basically using a piece of equipment that wasn't even around till like 15 years later, 14 years later from when that was actually recorded, to give it an updated, more high fidelity sound. That might have been the goal of this song, actually, is they tried to go high fidelity, but they could only work with what they had. Don't get me wrong, they had a lot of good options in the early 80s. I mean, you had, but most everything sounded pretty warm, API sounded pretty clean but very warm. Neve sounded very clean but very warm. SSL consoles at that time were, I don't know, people either loved them or they hated them, Most of the time they were saying we're going into SSL not for the sound but for the for the automation, for some of the, the workflow. But, it does have a sound. So they weren't in it for the sound, but now we are in it for the sound. So we try to chase these plugins that emulate the sound of those old consoles because we like the records that were mixed on them and we like the sonics of those records. So in this case, I just did something totally different, man. Just put the 9000J on it. The reason why is because now that I have this, preamp plugin, I realized that it had an SSL 9000 line amp on it. That now I pretty much have a full 9000, emulation, and I wanted to. I'm thinking I'll probably use. Yeah, okay, right. I'm probably going to use this as my main mixing thing, Well, that's the flavor for now, is that I'm using the SSL 9000J. Plus, I got to go off my clients too. Every time I've ever mixed with it, they're always like, "Dude, mix my whole record that way. Don't use those other plugins. Use this one." All right, okay. Yeah, I like the way that sounds. Oh yeah. And I even had like a kind of like a mixing competition with a friend, and kind of had everybody check out his mix, and then I'd mix with the 9000J, kind of like I'm doing now. And plug in, and then everybody thought my mix was better. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, I think it's because it just sounds high fidelity, and it's clean, has really clean top, and it's kind of bright, and it's punchy. This was really punchy, like those kick drums are just blasting us, and I think people like that, man. They like those punchy lows and they like crisp highs, and SSL 9000J will give it to you in. To your cup runneth over, right? Could you do this with like stock plugins and stuff like that? Kind of, to a degree, but the way that the EQ works on the SSL console is not something that they're emulating, with a stock EQ. You'd have to know, like, okay, if I'm pushing the highs and then it's bringing down the other frequencies, you got to know where it's doing that and kind of the way that curve is. Sometimes it has a little dip before it goes up and all sorts of stuff like that. So instead of just trying to recreate those curves and whatever, just you already have a plugin, just turn a couple knobs, sounds good, move on to the next thing, that's what kind of gives it its character. The compressor has its own character. It's probably not emulated exactly with like a stock compressor. This compressor has different things going on. On top of it all, you don't have the tolerances, which kind of gives it a little bit of width and depth, which gives your instruments the ability to stand out a little better, and there is a little bit of harmonics going on, which you're not getting out of a stock plugin usually, unless the stock plugin is meant to emulate some hardware and probably has some saturation in it, but they usually don't. So all in all, SSL 9000 sounded wonderful, so why not just use it? Nowadays, if I can have one in my computer, why not? So anyway, if you like my videos, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Check out my other videos. It's your boy Vigilante Styles, man. Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy Hanukkah, and whatever other things you celebrate during this time of the year. Just enjoy yourselves, and also spend time with your family. And I hope you guys have a very safe holiday. Stay warm. This is a cold year. I hope everybody's doing that, eating well, and being healthy, man. Hope everybody is healthy right now that's watching this video. Health is wealth, man. And we're going into the new year, 2023, with big ambitions. And I hope that everybody achieves the dreams they were looking for this coming year, and then some, and continued success for many years to come. All right, well, it's your boy Vigilante Styles, man, and I'm out. Peace.